Good evening, friends, and very good morning to Sharath, who's joined us here from Germany. So, thanks for doing that so early in the morning. Uh, just very briefly, for a person, especially after the last Commonwealth Games, doesn't need any introduction as far as India is concerned and sports is concerned. Mr. Sharath Kamal Achanta, co-chairperson, International Table Tennis Federation, and vice chairperson, IOA's Athlete Commission, hails from Chennai and India's most decorated table tennis player. He is a 10-time national champion, has 7 Commonwealth Games golds, 2 Asian Games medals, 4 Olympic Games appearances, and 2 ITTF Pro Tour titles under his belt. At the latest Tokyo Olympics, he reached the round of 32, losing in a close encounter with eventual gold medalist. He was India's highest medal tally winner at the 2022 Commonwealth Games with 3 golds and 1 silver. He's quite literally, as the youngsters say, GOAT, greatest of all times of Indian sports, not just table tennis. So welcome, Sharath, to have you here today. We are honored and privileged. And
Thank you very much.
Over to you now. We are all eager to listen to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. And thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful gathering. I think I'm seeing so many big names on this. I'm these are names when I grew up. I saw these big names, Ashwini ma'am, Mona ma'am. So many of them were like. It's fantastic to be among the circle here. And personally, I would like to thank Sportscom for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you around here. So, just Jalat sir, just to go ahead, is there any specific thing you want me to talk about, or lead the conversation in with regards to the IOA or the ITTF or sports in general?
No, we are, I think, eager to hear, as prominent sports people like you, not only still continue to play for the country under the Indian flag, but are also playing active roles, whether it's the International Table Tennis Federation, whether it's the IOA and others. So what are the thoughts, some of you as upcoming athletes who are now also spending time in administration, feel an industry body like Sportscom, which is sporting good manufacturers, sporting events people, academic institutes, NGOs in the sporting space. We are all eager to learn from you.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. I've been born into a table tennis family. So my father is my coach. My father and uncle, they were coaches already before I was born. So they have coached a lot of other big talents from the country. And it was just automatic for me to get into sport. So basically I had no other option. So I was just got into sport at a very tender age of 4. So that was when my dad used to take me along with him to the club. And I really don't remember playing table tennis at that very young age, but it was more of evening I would spend with the other kids. And then slowly over a couple of years, I started picking up the racket and playing with all of them. And as a youngster, I never was a very, let's say, I was never very, I was not shining as bright as the younger talents were at that point in time. Never played for Junior India. But I continued my process of working towards getting better, towards excellence. And at the age of 20 was when I first time came into the national team. And since then, my growth has been quite rapid. So at the age of 21, I won my first senior national championships. This was in 2003. And from there on, I completely never looked back from not just at the national level, but also in the international level. My first Olympic Games in Athens, and went on to win the Commonwealth title for the first Indian ever doing so in Malaysia, and continuing that into 2006 into the Melbourne Games, Melbourne Commonwealth Games, where I won the singles gold and we won the team gold for the first time. At that point in time, table tennis was quite a small, let's say, a very infamous sport. Even we were not on the priority list. I think Commander here would agree. I think we are still struggling to get there onto the priority sporting list, where from Sai on the list of sports there. So 2006 was when I came into the prominence. At the same time, table tennis also got its, let's say, its due for being there, for having so many champions over so many years across. Table tennis is almost like, is almost getting to, we are heading towards the 100th year in another couple of years, in 2026. So since ITTF has been formed, and so it's been a very long sport, but we've never been a very famous, let's say, a big sport. So 2006 was when we saw table tennis slowly rose up, along with me and a few other players back then in India. And then we continued to do well. But it was 2018 when we actually got the benefit of the whole bunch doing very, very well. So there was Manika Batra, who went on to win the singles gold, and the women won the team's gold. The men won the team's gold. So we got 8 medals there, and slowly table tennis really got its prominence. And from there on, the next step was the Asian Games in 2018, where we won. I won 2 bronze medals, one in the men's team and one in the mixed doubles, which was the first time in 62 years of the history of Asian Games. So that actually catapulted us into a greater height. Not just we became prominent sports stars, let's say, across all sporting disciplines, and from there on we kept rising higher and higher. And I think 2022 Birmingham Games was the icing on cake for me personally. After Tokyo Olympic Games, I had my best, I personally thought was my best performance I've had in my whole career. 2021, the match against Ma Long, the eventual gold medalist, Olympic gold medalist. And I thought, I didn't know if I could recreate that kind of a performance, but I was really happy that in 2022, again, we could get back there and go and win those 3 golds and 1 silver. So it's been a very long and illustrious career for me personally. So started in 2003, my first, 2002 was my first time when I started playing for India. 2003 was when I started winning, having some big achievements, and it's been 2022 now, end of 2022. So over the last nearly 19-20 years, I've understood a lot as a player, the requirements as a player, as from the sporting side. And at the same time, now I'm in a stage where of my career where I'm able to understand the administrative side, the demands of politics into sport. Because end of the day, the player is the one who's on the field doing his job onto how to perform and how to do well. But if the administration is doing well, if the administration is able to take care of the players very well, I think the growth is exponential. And that is where I would really like to thank Commander Sir, coming in to Sai back then in prior to Rio, and giving us that right platform there. So as a senior player, I feel that is also my responsibility to get that going for the youngsters. So the last couple of years, I've been thinking, okay, what next? What do I do? Okay, of course, I'm playing well. I'm playing quite well, but until when do I continue to do this? And when do I start onto my next career? Let's say next part of my career, with regards to being helping, building the structure up, creating a system. So I now it's like, okay, until Paris Olympic Games, I would like to give my best, because we still have a fair chance probably to get a medal there, especially in the team championships and the mixed doubles where Satyan and Manika are pairing up. So these are two options where if we qualify, there'll be only 16 teams in the Olympic Games to going in for that medal. And if we have two good days, when the team has two really good days, we are at a shot at the medal. So that is what I'm looking at. But at the same time, I can also understand a lot of responsibilities uh, are there as a senior player, as a senior athlete, because we need to be there upfront, trying to help the major mass of the players. So 1 year ago, I was thinking that I came in contact with the ITTF, International Table Tennis Federation, and their board, and they said that the new athlete commission elections will happen in 2022, and would you be interested in getting in into the athlete commission? So I was just thinking about the whole scenario there. So I'm from Asia, but I've grown up in Europe. I've spent considerable amount of time in Europe for almost 14, 15 years now. I've been living. I was living in Europe from 2004 until 2016, and I still continue to play the German matches, the German Bundesligas and the Champions League here. So I understand very much the European structure, and at the same time, coming in from Asia, I do know what the Asian setup is, especially in terms of tradition, in terms of history, and in terms of how the working styles are. So in Asia, it's very much administration driven. So a lot of it is helped and controlled by the federation. The players don't make individual decisions, and clearly you can see that the players are important for the federations, and for the federations the player, like it works vice versa. Both of them try to push together to get better. And the main reason there is, in Asia, we have a lot of players, we have a lot of talents that come in. So that is also because of the structure and system that's been created in most of the Oriental countries. Let's say, when I say Asia, table tennis is predominantly, driven by the countries in the Oriental. So that's China, Japan, Korea, and the Chinese offerings like Taiwan, Hong Kong, China. Then we have Singapore had some immigrants of Chinese nationalities. So these are the Asia being the leader in table tennis, but it is still, table tennis is in these few 6 to 7 countries only. So India is slowly coming up now. There are a couple of other countries like Iran and Kazakhstan getting in there, but we do understand, that the strength of these Oriental countries are because of the structure that is there to churn out champions year after year. And in Europe, the number of players turning professional, of course, the number of players playing table tennis is quite high. So that's why the let's say, the number of people playing leisure table tennis is quite high. Germany has around 8 lakh registered players. France has around 6 to 7 lakh registered players. So that's the amount of registered players, because all of them have platforms to come out there and play. So even if you're playing in the 12, in Germany, there are nearly 12 leagues, 12 to 13 divisions of leagues. So if you're coming out there, and if you have a certain level, and if you just want to play the game for fun, you might not be trying to excel in the sport, but you have a platform there to come out there and play. So Europe is very much driven by the players. So when there are a couple of talents that come up, then the whole system and structure is built around this player, trying to make this player a champion. So this is how both these main continents work around. So me being in Europe, I understand this, and at the same time being in Asia, coming from an Asian background, I do understand the values and the traditions that come up, with us. And at the same time, because I'm able to communicate well, I'm able to speak well, the ITTF felt we need somebody who's able to voice out the requirements of players in the right manner, in the right channel. And when the players have the right voice, and the player and the organization grows as an athlete centric or a player centric manner, the sport develops in a much faster way. So you can clearly see that in many others, all the leading sports that are across the world. So that was how I thought, okay, I should be coming in to the athlete commission. And once I started, talking to other people and players and coaches and the administrators, everybody were like, yes, let's get there, because there are formally a lot of changes that is happening in the international body of table tennis, with a commercial wing coming into International Table Tennis Federation, saying it's named World Table Tennis. So they act as the commercial wing. So they want to generate business, and at the same time, the ITTF wants the players to be part of that process, where it's not just generating money, but it's also about getting the players the right right platform, and using them as the right tool, not just looking at them as a product or a brand, but making them, educating the sports persons, educating the coaches about what the process is, and taking all of them together. That is where we as table tennis can succeed in not just making money, but also making the players very good in terms of, let's say, in terms of the professionalism that is being followed, or in terms of the money we are able to make, or at the same time the visibility we are also able to have. So both goes hand in hand, the players and the sport. When that happens, then I think the sport is in the right direction. And so this was happening over the last 1 year, and the elections were happening, and all of a sudden the IOA elections for the athlete commission came up. That was, with all the in the recent times, with a few changes in the IOA, the new athlete commission elections were announced. And I thought that, okay, I know a lot about table tennis, but at the same time, there are many more other sports who would also require the same amount of support as senior athletes. We could help them. So then when the IOA elections had come up, then I had again put forth my name, and I was lucky enough to be selected as a vice chair. I really personally didn't think I would be selected as a vice chair there, because there are bigger names like Abhinav Bindra, PV Sindhu. They have done really great achievements for the country. But when they nominated my name and they said, okay, we would like Sharath to be there as our representative, I felt really humbled. And at the same time, there's a lot of responsibility to that. So now I'm trying to balance the player in me, and at the same time the administrator, or let's say the requirements from the administrative side and the political side. So I'm still quite new onto this side, but I do understand. But because as players, we keep asking a lot of questions like, okay, why not this, why not this, why not this? And then as an administrator, I'm able to clearly see what are the difficulties to not make those three or four things happen, by which the player can be happy. And many times, as a player, I'm thinking for myself. I'm thinking of my own growth and my own development. But when it comes to an administrator, it is a development of the entire ecosystem, which we'll have to get it together. Get all of us higher in terms of not just the players, but also the sport, the administration, the whole ecosystem around the athlete has to be better. So when that happens, I think we all can be proud of saying that India is in the right direction, and we can be aiming for many more medals at the Olympic Games. So yeah, that was what I wanted to talk, I wanted to tell, and if there's anything else.
Thanks, Sharath. That was personal, so very touching, but also a lot of inputs as things are evolving. I'm sure members have questions, comments.
Jalan sir, can I go ahead?
Yeah, please don't ask.
Yeah. Sharath, thank you so much for coming on and giving us your story. I mean, it's lovely to hear every athlete's story, and congratulations on your longevity, and may you continue to make India proud. We've been watching your consistent performance, so congratulations on that. I think you've made table tennis, the whole fraternity, so proud, and we see so many young kids look upon what you have done and take up the sport. So that's great for Indian table tennis. So congratulations.
Thank you.
As far as the administration part goes, I'm extremely happy that sports persons like you all, who have come up through, right through the grassroots level, are now into the administration. A lot needs to be done. A lot is expected from you all. As you rightly said, when we are competing as athletes, we become selfish and only think about ourselves. But as an administrator, I think the responsibility is huge to get all the NSFs together and be on the same, thought process. But all the very best to all of you all. I personally believe if the intent is right, there is no one that can stop you from going ahead. So I wish you all and your team the very best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashwini. Any others?
Sharath, I
Yes.
just want to, this is Mona Lisa. I just want to know that when you had suffered the injury, how did you come up with that? Many people will not be knowing what was your mental condition during that time. I know you are a really so much strong person. When I saw you who came out of that thing and to win so many medals, that is really extraordinary talent, I must say. But I want to know what was that during that time, what was your mental condition and how did you come up?
Yes, ma'am. So ma'am is talking about an injury that I went through in 2015. I was hitting a peak at that point in time. Almost for like 8 months, I was on a run. In a tournament called Asia Cup Top 16 of Asia. I beat 3 top 20 players back to back in almost 24 hours. I was going on in that fantastic flow, and in the World Championships, I tore my hamstring for nearly 12 centimeters, right from my hip bone. So yeah, one thing, ma'am, one thing I keep joking to the youngsters that sport is very healthy for body and mind. Top level sport is injurious to both body and mind, and I think all the sports persons out there will see that, will accept that. Yeah, will agree that injuries are part of our sport, part of our career, and sometimes it's physical, many times it's mental. So every time you have a defeat, you're getting injured, so you have to get back from that injury. So at this time when the injury had happened, it was a career-threatening injury. The doctor said he is not sure if he can get through this operation successfully because it's a bit complicated with where it's been torn. And he was completely not sure if I can play table tennis. So already by hearing that, the mindset goes away, goes quite below, yeah, because your identity is the sport. Like my identity is table tennis, and when I can't do that, when I'm not able to follow doing what has been my bread and butter for nearly so many years, that very thought makes it very difficult for you to progress ahead, for you to go ahead and say, no problem, let me try, let me go ahead and see what I can do. So there, I think I was very lucky that I had a good ecosystem around me. My family was very supportive. And at the same time, there was a good structure in the club. I got injured in China and I went back to Germany. I was living in Germany at that point. Went back to Germany. So the ecosystem around the manager, the club, the coach, the physios, everybody were completely focused on getting me back on my feet. And at the same time, there's family for my support. Yet there was a time through 3 months of the recovery. So I was nearly 4 weeks on a wheelchair, 2 weeks on crutches. I had to teach my right leg how to walk again. So as babies, we learn that, but I had to literally teach my leg how to walk again, because otherwise I'd be using the wrong muscles, which would further increase more damage to my body. So I had to get back there on recovery, on rehab. And 3 months into the rehab, I felt like I'm not going anywhere. It's not working out. The results are not showing up with the legs, with the body as it should be. And probably the doctor was right. I'm probably I can't be playing table tennis anymore. And that was when I said, I spoke to my coach, and the coach said, don't stay in Germany, just go home. Just go home, take a week or 10 days, take how many days, like break, just go home and then come back when you feel you're ready. So I went home, I took a 10-day break. I came back, a lot of things fell into place. So I think the mental part there was very good when I came back to India, spent time with of course, when my mom saw me first, you know how it happens in India. She was crying and, but that's how it is. For her, I'm still the small kid around her, even though I was 30 years old, 32 years old back then. So also with an injury at that so late in my career, I'm 32. I don't know if generally you stop playing sport between 30 and 35, so you never imagine yourself to go on getting a Khel Ratna at the age of 40. So yeah, at that point in time, those 10 days, that break that was given by the coach, he understood what is eating me from inside. So just go home, just don't think about table tennis, take a break, come back. And then when we started off again in August, I was ready to play. And October, I played my first match. And this was 2015 October. So this has happened in April. And 2016 April, I was able to qualify for the Olympic Games. Actually, I was thinking that would be that Rio Olympic Games would be my personal best, because the way I was playing, the way I was preparing, and the way I was shaping up. But unfortunately, mere qualification became a major question mark there. So I just qualified for the Olympic Games, got inducted into, Commander Sir saw me and he inducted me into tops. And from there, a lot of things have changed.
It's really nice to hear, Sharath. It's really so inspiring.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Commander.
Hey, Sharath, always
So
nice to see you.
You know everything about me. You don't need to ask anything.
So I'm not going to ask anything on your performance. Always proud of what you have achieved.
Yeah.
Because the forum has a lot of people from the industry.
Yeah.
And you've been, the fact that you've been playing in Germany. So there are a lot of people who run leagues or are from the, sports event management, organizations. There are sport manufacturers. There are people from sports technology. So what is your advice? Matlab, where do you see the gap where India should work on, because though I know that the country is moving in the right direction, but we all understand that there are huge gaps. And you have had experience of the best in the world. You played in Europe. You've seen the Asian system. So if you could advise the industry body on where we need to work more, because today also you play with, equipment which is coming from international manufacturers.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So with regards to table tennis, again, the two big markets are Asia and Europe. So Asia is pretty much dominated by the Chinese in terms of manufacturing, in terms of the league, in terms of the players, in every aspect. I'm just talking here. So it's dominated by the Chinese, and Japanese have the leading brand called Butterfly. So that's the leading brand. So Butterfly is in such a platform that it has 50% of market share all over the world. So that's the kind of deep rootedness they have, and that's they are strictly with on quality. They have the best players with them. They make sure that the players have the best equipment, or they produce the best equipment. And then you have Germany and France, which are again the two big markets. But only Germany has a equipment manufacturing base. Let's say it's Japan or Germany. In Germany, there are nearly 6 to 7 manufacturers who manufacture equipment, and they supply to the rest of the world. So these 6 to 7 people share another 20 to 30% of the market share. And it is in these 3-4 places where the leagues and the structure of the players are very, very, there's a categorical way of, if you play a certain level, you play in this league. If you play a certain level, you play in a higher league. So there's a clear structure where which player belongs to which level. And this is all supported by the country. So in Europe, both Germany and France, the main sponsors of the clubs are the cities. The cities give the funding to all the clubs. So depending on which level of the league you're in, you get that much of support from the city. And apart from that, they also go in for private sponsors. So then they try to develop on, but at least they have a base from which they can start. I think now, let's say like a Khelo India program is in one such direction. But Khelo India is from the central government. We need that kind of a structure from the state governments. And that is what is happening in Germany and in France. Or let's say even in China, the provincial region, the provincial teams, the regional teams that are there, they have a lot of funding, and they put that into the sport, into grassroots level. Over and above that grassroots level. So let's say when the leagues are, trying to get better and they want to get higher in terms of the level of the leagues, then they have support from the central government and the Olympic committees and their private sponsoring. And that depends on how well they're able to market what they are doing. So the structure is this is how the structure is. So there's a very wide base at the bottom level, at the grassroots level, where there's a lot of funding that goes into, and from there on, it is up to the club to bring in more support. So let's say in Sweden, there is a very good club culture. Everything is given for free for the players, as far as players, but they don't go into top level sport. Like the clubs don't go into top level sport. Into top level sport, then it's the federations and the Olympic committees. But in Germany and France, the clubs go into top level sport also. And in Japan and China, it's completely driven by the country only. It's by the country, by the central government or the state government or the cities. So that is how the whole structure is grown in these countries, and these are the powerhouses of table tennis in terms of the number of players, in terms of the manufacturing, in terms of the quality of the league, in terms of money also, where the player gets the maximum amount of money in these leagues. So that's how the structure is, sir. So clearly there is a clear focus on grassroots level, and in Europe, sport is a way of life, is part of their culture. So everybody would be doing sport, either it's football or it's table tennis or tennis or some sport. All of them would be doing, where the clubs come in there and they're able to fund that cream of players.
Thanks, Sharath. Thanks.
Any others? Yeah, Amolji,
Hi,
please
hi.
go ahead.
Hi, Sharath.
Hi.
Nice to see you here. So, today we are seeing that it's a highly specialized thing, and sport-specific support is what something is expected today. So, as a senior athlete, in terms of table tennis, if I talk, what problem statement do you see in the sport at the moment which needs to be resolved? If we can overcome that part in terms of performance and sports science support, maybe we'll be able to add more medal tally in coming years, because that's something which is subject of curiosity to me, where people like us can contribute something for the society.
Actually, we are quite prehistoric in terms of sports science.
Absolutely.
So sorry to say that.
No, it's absolutely correct thing, and that's why we need to make those baby steps right now so that we can get it right.
Yeah. So we need to have a clear understanding of what sports science is. So we need the players and the coaches to be educated on sports science. So it has to be part of their, let's say, their routine or the regime or the curriculum, where even if it's like I can, simple thing, when I play football with 11-year-old kids here, 11-12-year-old kids, if somebody gets hurt, they're immediately running for ice. How many people around us know that, okay, first thing is you need to ice, after an injury, or you need to do certain things, simple things. After practice, they practice here, and immediately within the next 1 hour, half an hour to 1 hour, they finish their meal. They know that it is very, very important for the body to recover that way. But we still don't know. We just, a lot of things are just told, it just passes on from our seniors. Okay, this is what you should do, but we don't know why it should be done. So I think educating the players, educating the athletes and the coaches, the whole ecosystem, let's say the players, coaches, the support staff, and the parents also, in terms of sports science, in terms of the requirement of what the body needs, or what because each body is different. You could be, you could require a different, you could probably need strength in the upper body. I could require strength in the lower body. There's so many different requirements, and as individuals, we have those, those differences. So it's very, very important that we are able to understand what is the basic necessity. So a clear benchmark in terms of the base has to be set, where we are able to have the access, have the understanding to sports science, and if we are able to grow on that. So again, now coming back to Commander Sir's question, first is the grassroots level. The grassroots level, when you are able to get kids to play more sport, when you are able to work on sport education, then sports science will be very, very useful. But still, we as India, so a simple example here, I play a lot of multi-sport. And when I play in India, let's say football or handball or cricket, I'm one of the very athletic guys, and I have good control in many sports. I play squash, I play badminton. just because I like to play other sports. So I'm one of the best. But when I come into Europe, I'm one of the worst. That's because these kids grew up playing sports as across different different sports. They have the access to, they have the opportunity to play, and which develops their their kinetic chain of the whole body. They develop as stronger athletes, just because they have the access to play different sports. So these are some things which we as a country will have to get it into the structure and the system itself, where we are able to get the kids to play sport and educate them in terms of the sports science.
Thanks. Any others? Okay. So, Sharath, on behalf of all of us at Sportscom, we want to thank you for sharing for almost 40 minutes today your journey, and more than that, your thoughts on future of sports as far as India is concerned. And we as Sportscom, all our members, look forward to your association in some of the administrative roles also that you're taking on, because I think there is a lot more between the industry partners who are members of Sportscom and some of you leading athletes we can do together for glory of Indian sports. So thank you very much again, Sharath.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you for patiently listening to me, and
Thank you, Sharath.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank